In a small town outside Atlanta, 15-year-old Elijah Thompson sat quietly at the back of his high school art class. He rarely spoke unless called on, and when he did, his voice was soft and hesitant. But while his classmates scrolled on phones or doodled stick figures, Elijah created breathtaking portraits with charcoal and watercolor, bringing life to every face he imagined. His teacher, Ms. Jennings, often paused her own lessons just to watch him work. Elijah came from a humble home. His mother, Tanya, worked long hours as a nurse, and his father was absent. With 2 younger siblings and little money to spare, Elijah rarely had access to art supplies beyond what the school provided. But he didn't complain. He used old newspapers, broken pencils, and leftover watercolors like a magician turning dust into gold. His favorite subject to draw was people he admired, and of all those figures, one stood out above the rest: Kanye West. Elijah had followed Kanye's career since he was little, not just for the music, but for the emotion behind it. To him, Kanye was more than a celebrity. He was proof that emotion, struggle, and art could live in the same person. Elijah's room was filled with drawings of Kanye. Kanye smiling, Kanye in pain, Kanye behind sunglasses with a galaxy swirling in his lenses. Each portrait told a story. But Elijah had never shown these pieces to anyone, not even his mom. His fear of judgment outweighed any dream of recognition. One day, while scrolling Instagram, Elijah noticed a contest hosted by a major hip-hop art page. Submit your tribute art to any artist. Top 5 get reposted. First place gets shown live to Kanye. Elijah's heart pounded. He closed the app, opened his sketchbook, and stared at a half-finished piece he had worked on for weeks. It was a surreal portrait of Kanye sitting on a throne made of broken microphones, surrounded by clouds shaped like his lyrics. In the corner, Elijah had written, "For the misunderstood." He had never posted his art online before, but something in him stirred. Maybe it was the loneliness, maybe it was the hope. But that night, he posted it. His caption read, "Art speaks when words can't. Thank you, Kanye." He hit upload, set down his phone, and tried to forget about it. He didn't even tell Ms. Jennings. The next morning, Elijah's phone had 472 notifications. Comments poured in. "Bro, this is insane. You got talent. Kanye needs to see this." Elijah was stunned. He refreshed the post again. 5,000 likes. 6 through 800. Then he saw a comment from the contest page. "You're in the top 5. DM us. ASAP." He showed his mom, who screamed so loud she woke the baby. "Elijah," she cried. "This is your moment, baby." Elijah smiled but stayed quiet. He was grateful, but he didn't dare dream too big. Not yet. Elijah's hands shook as he typed the DM. He thanked the page and asked what came next. Within minutes, they responded, "Your piece is being shown. On live tomorrow night. Kanye will be watching. Be ready." Elijah nearly dropped his phone. The next 24 hours were a blur. Ms. Jennings found out and printed the drawing to hang in the school hallway. Classmates who'd never spoken to Elijah asked him for advice on shading. Even the principal called him to the office to congratulate him and asked for an autograph, just in case. That night, Elijah barely ate. He stared at his sketch, now framed, in their tiny living room. His siblings didn't fully understand what was happening, but they kept asking, "Is Kanye gonna talk to you?" He shrugged and smiled. "Maybe." At 7:59 p.m., he opened Instagram Live. The host greeted thousands of viewers. "Tonight, we're showing 5 incredible tribute pieces," he said. "And guess what? Ye himself is watching from his burner account." Elijah's mouth went dry. They showed the first piece, colorful and bold, then the second, digital, clean. Elijah's was third. As it appeared, the chat went wild. "Who did this? This one wins. Kanye, this is you." The host smiled. "This one is from Elijah Thompson, only 15 years old, from Georgia." Then, something unreal happened. The host's face changed. He looked off screen and said, "Hold up, I'm getting a text. Yo, Kanye wants to go live, right now." The live paused, then resumed. On the screen, Kanye West. Black hoodie, serious face. "Where's the kid who drew that?" he asked. The host scrambled. Elijah, if you're watching, request to join the live, Elijah's mom screamed. Do it! He fumbled, clicked, and within seconds, his face appeared next to Kanye's. Kanye smiled. You did that? Elijah nodded, breathless. Yeah, I did. Kanye pointed at the screen. That's one of the realest things I've seen in years. Kanye leaned forward on the screen, eyes scanning the art again. Man, you put me on a throne made of broken mics. That hit deep. That's how I feel every day. Elijah's lips trembled. I just wanted to show how powerful your voice is, even when it's cracked. The chat exploded. He's 15? This kid's a genius. Sign him now. Kanye nodded slowly. You get it, bro. You really get it. You see me. Then Yes said something that would change Elijah's life. I want to buy that piece, full price, and I want you to do a custom for my next show. You down? Elijah's eyes widened. Yes, sir, I'm down. Kanye laughed. Don't call me sir. Call me yeah. Elijah chuckled nervously. Okay? Yeah. His mom was crying behind him. The moment felt like a dream. Kanye continued. I'ma wire you $10K for that piece tonight, and I'm putting you on the creative team for my Donda visual show next month. You good with that? Elijah couldn't speak. He nodded, holding back tears. Art heals, Kanye said. You just proved it. Thank you. The live ended. But the world was just beginning to pay attention. Elijah's name was trending on Twitter. Elijah Thompson. Kanye Live. The Shy Artist. Back in his room, Elijah sat staring at his sketchbook. His life had just changed in front of millions of people. But in his heart, he was still the same quiet boy with big thoughts and trembling hands. That night, he drew again. This time, it was a picture of a boy reaching through a phone screen into the stars. The morning after the live stream with Kanye, Elijah's phone was barely usable from the sheer number of notifications. Messages poured in from people all over the country, fans, fellow artists, media outlets, and even celebrities. His inbox was a blur of blue checkmarks and praise. Elijah, who used to wonder if anyone would ever see his work, now had the eyes of the world on him. News crews showed up at his school. Ms. Jennings beamed with pride as Elijah gave shy interviews in front of his classmates. He's always been a genius, she told reporters. We just needed the world to see it too. Meanwhile, Tanya was fielding calls from agents and publishers, all wanting to represent Elijah or feature him in magazines and documentaries. But with attention came pressure. Elijah found it hard to concentrate. He still had to go to class, do homework, and take care of his siblings. But now he also had interviews, deadlines, and public appearances. At night, he would sketch alone, headphones in, trying to tune out the noise and remember why he started drawing in the first place. He was also trying to complete the custom art piece Kanye had requested for the Donda show. It had to be perfect. He envisioned an abstract storm, with silhouettes of Kanye through different eras of his life. College dropout, fashion mogul, father, and fighter. Each figure would emerge from lightning made of lyrics. Kanye checked in regularly. He didn't just ask about the art. He asked how Elijah was doing. Stay grounded, he messaged one night. You're not just an artist now, you're a voice. Elijah would stare at those words, overwhelmed by the weight of them. At school, some kids who had ignored or bullied him now wanted selfies. Others whispered behind his back. He overheard one say, "He's not even that good, just lucky Kanye picked him." Elijah tried to shrug it off, but it stung. To cope, he started journaling. Ms. Jennings gave him a leather-bound notebook. "Write it all down," she said. "Even the ugly parts. Especially the ugly parts." Elijah wrote about his fears, his family, his dreams, and slowly, the act of writing became as healing as drawing. One evening, Elijah posted a time-lapse video of his latest piece. It showed the painting from blank canvas to final stroke, set to Kanye's Ghost Town. Within an hour, it had 2 million views. The world wasn't just watching, they were listening. The day of the Donda visual show arrived. Elijah and his mom flew to Los Angeles for the first time in their lives. They were picked up by a black SUV and driven to a private compound where artists, designers, and musicians were rehearsing for the live event. Everything felt surreal. The creative director introduced Elijah to the team and gave him a badge. "Your family now," she said. Kanye greeted him with a hug. "Let's show them something they've never seen." Elijah's painting was being displayed on a 40-foot LED screen during one of the show's key moments. Rehearsals were intense. Elijah sat backstage, sketching dancers and noting lighting angles. He was quiet but observant. Everyone respected him. They knew he wasn't there for clout. He was there for art. Even with all the chaos, Elijah remained focused on his piece. The painting featured Kanye in 4 stages, each wrapped in lyric-shaped lightning. When it flashed on screen during rehearsal, the crew applauded. "That's fire," one of the choreographers said. Kanye grinned and gave Elijah a fist bump. "This is what healing looks like," he whispered. That night, Elijah called his siblings. "I wish you could see this," he told them. "There are lights everywhere. It's like a dream city." His little brother asked, "Are you famous? Now?" Elijah laughed. "Maybe a little." The show aired live. Millions tuned in. Elijah's painting lit up the stadium during a performance of Ultralight Beam. The crowd roared. Cameras cut to Kanye, who pointed at the screen and mouthed, "Elijah!" Social media exploded. "Who made that? Kanye's visuals are next level." Elijah's name trended again. The art world took notice. Galleries reached out. Netflix producers sent emails. But Elijah stayed quiet. After the show, he sat on the edge of his hotel bed and stared at his hands. "These hands," he whispered. "They brought us here." His mom wrapped her arms around him. "And they're gonna take you even further." He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he drew the stadium from memory, capturing the lights, the music, the feeling. At the bottom of the page, he wrote, "Believe." Back in Atlanta, life moved differently. Elijah returned to school greeted by applause, but also by new expectations. Everyone treated him like he'd already made it. Teachers called him the star. Classmates asked for interviews, and even the local news wanted follow-ups. But behind every smile, Elijah felt pressure mounting. He missed the quiet, the anonymity of just being a kid who loved to draw. Now, every sketch felt like a performance. Every post a risk, Ms. Jennings noticed. "You need time to breathe," she said. "Not every piece needs to be a masterpiece." But Elijah wasn't sure how to slow down anymore. He started getting requests from schools, charities, even sneaker brands. Everyone wanted a piece of Elijah. Tanya did her best to protect him, screening emails and turning down deals that didn't feel right. But even she couldn't stop the world from reaching in. One day, Elijah walked into class and saw a mural being painted on the gym wall. It was a portrait of him holding a pencil like a sword. "They're calling it the Elijah Wall," Ms. Jennings explained. "It's meant to inspire." But Elijah didn't feel inspired. He felt exposed. He began avoiding the spotlight, stopped posting new art, declined interviews. He told himself it was temporary, but the silence stretched. His joy for drawing dimmed under the glare of fame. Tanya tried to help. "You don't owe anyone your soul," she said gently. "Art should heal you first." Kanye reached out again. "You good?" the message read. Elijah stared at it for a long time, then replied, "I don't know." Minutes later, his phone rang. "Let's talk," Yes said. "One-on-one." They spoke for over an hour. Kanye didn't give advice, he just listened. "Feel like a mirror everyone's staring into," Yes said. "But you gotta remember what your reflection means to you." Elijah nodded. It made sense in a way only art could explain. After the call, Elijah picked up his sketchbook again. He didn't try to impress anyone. He just drew a simple picture, a boy sitting under a tree, sketching a bird on his shoe. No symbolism, just peace. He smiled. It was the first time in weeks that he felt like himself again. Summer brought change. Elijah was invited to attend an exclusive arts retreat in New York for young creatives from underserved communities. It wasn't about fame or likes, it was about growth. Tanya encouraged him. "Go be with people who speak your language." In New York, Elijah met teens like him, poets, dancers, muralists, musicians, each with a story. They weren't trying to go viral. They were trying to be heard. The retreat gave Elijah something he didn't realize he needed: community. He took classes in animation and color theory, experimented with sculpture, and even tried digital design. For the first time, he saw art not just as expression, but as industry. Mentors from Pixar and Marvel shared their journeys. "Don't wait for permission," one said. "Create your own lane." One night, around a campfire, each participant shared what their art meant to them. When Elijah's turn came, he paused, then said, "I used to draw to hide. Now I draw to speak." The circle clapped softly, and a girl across the fire smiled. "That's real." He returned to Atlanta with new energy. He launched a small online portfolio and offered free prints to schools and nonprofits. "Art belongs in more than just galleries," he wrote. "It belongs where it's needed." Ms. Jennings helped him host a school art show, featuring work from students of all grades. The theme: Our Voices. Elijah's new pieces were different, brighter, layered, experimental, but the heart was still his. His favorite piece from the show was a painting of a staircase made of pencils, leading to a skyline shaped like headphones. At the top was a small silhouette, arms outstretched, free. Tanya cried when she saw it. "I call it The Climb," Elijah explained. "It's about never letting the noise drown out the melody." Months passed. Elijah's story continued to inspire, but he no longer chased attention. He spoke at schools, mentored younger artists, and occasionally dropped art online without tagging anyone famous. Yet, his work always found its way to people who needed it. One evening, while at a local youth center, a boy named Corey approached him. "I used to think drawing was dumb," Corey admitted. "Then I saw your stuff. Now I draw when I'm mad." Elijah smiled. "That's how I started too." The encounter stuck with him. Elijah decided to create a new series called The Quiet Ones. Portraits of kids who felt unseen. He traveled around Georgia, sketching in libraries, shelters, schools. The project wasn't flashy, but it was powerful. He released the series with a short video narrated by him. Art isn't just what we show the world. It's what saves us when the world forgets we exist. The video went viral, not because Kanye shared it, but because people felt it. Kanye did eventually repost it. "This, the kind of art that changes lives," he wrote. But by then, Elijah didn't need validation. His work was his voice. His final piece in the series was a self-portrait. It wasn't dramatic, just him, looking at the viewer, holding a sketchbook that read, "I see you." When asked in an interview what advice he'd give to other shy kids, Elijah simply said, "Don't draw to be seen. Draw because you are." And then he added, "The world will catch up." Elijah turned 17, surrounded by family and friends. They celebrated not just his talent, but his growth. Tanya gave him a box of his childhood sketches. "From the fridge to the future," she said, laughing through tears. He got into one of the top art schools in the country, but deferred enrollment. "I've got more to say first," he told his mom. Instead, he partnered with local programs to develop art curriculums for schools that had cut their budgets. He also started a podcast, Lines and Lyrics, where he interviewed artists of all kinds about the intersection of creativity and healing. His first guest? Ms. Jennings. "You saw me before anyone else did," he told her. "Thank you." The world hadn't forgotten Elijah, but he no longer needed their noise to feel worthy. His work now lived in galleries, schools, and homes across the country. But more importantly, it lived in hearts. One day he received a package. Inside was a vinyl of Kanye's new album, with Elijah's painting as the cover art. A note read, "You changed how I see myself. Never stop." Elijah stood quietly, holding the record, not with pride, but with peace. His journey had started in silence, behind closed doors. Now, his voice echoed far beyond what he ever imagined, and somewhere in the middle of it all, a quiet boy had become a lighthouse, because sometimes the loudest art begins with the quietest heart.